Welcome everyone to another edition of Rita's video blog. I've told you I'd be doing this weekly, so today's the weekly address. For the last week, I've been just keeping busy. Aaron talked about our trip the last time. It was about almost 50 minutes about what's going on, what happened, and where we went, etc., etc. And I gotta say, I found it to be really a good story. I finally got my Medicare statement for these girls, and they weren't actually
On the
in
medical
there.
statement.
Exactly, not on a medical statement. So I was like, oh well, oh. Another experiment, just so you girls know, I'm going to be officially sized in about 2 weeks and 3 days, but I checked out home of some new bras I purchased 17 years ago, and they fit nicely. That's between a 36 and 38C, so if some of you wondering, this is what these girls are. I guess the doctor knew I would have been probably a D cup if I had the 550cc implants. So these are 470, so there you have it. Other thing is I've been playing Diablo, and every time I go through, I'm learning something new on the original game. Only problem is the money is getting harder and harder to acquire.
And I've been playing Fire Emblem Fates.
So that was what I was going to play today while watching YouTube videos or going back to Etrian. Those were what my plan was today.
I want to borrow Etrian when you get done with it. You're not hurrying up with that.
So that's a level grinding game. Another thing I wanted to talk about was my mini projects. I got to do one of my projects. I got to take some time, probably today or tonight, is put my face mask on so I can draw out all the impurities in my pores. On another note, I'm going to try to not botch this because Medicare has decided that there is no national coverage determination yet on on transgender related surgeries, so it's case by case. People are complaining there needs to be a national coverage. I just had a roadblock today with the surgeon on facial surgery. I won't go into details.
It wasn't really a roadblock. Essentially, it just said we need to find out what your total is going to be so that you know what you're going to have to pay if for some reason Medicare doesn't cover.
However, they also said they have to get to make sure Medicare would even agree to it so they can get the surgery started, as well as check their local coverage determination. There is now national. So if the local said this isn't covered or that's not covered, like Noridian is the local, then they're not going to take a chance on me. So we've given them all the information in today's email, so we'll see what happens. I mean, if we don't have facial surgery, oh well. There's no skin off my nose.
They did make a promise they would attempt to bill it. So I think they need to at least attempt to bill it, even if they say we're probably not going to cover it. But they want you to know what it's likely to cost you if they don't cover it. So at least they're trying to do that. I
didn't get the numbers for my breast job, so...
Yeah, well, at least they're trying to make sure that you don't have any hidden fees or anything, and all of a sudden you're like, what's this? Oh my God, it's $250,000, I'll never pay that. They want to make sure that you can at least sit there and look it over and say, I think I can manage. I'll take a risk with it.
Well, right now, let's just say right now they want to do a forehead shaving and a forehead lift. That's it. And possibly the eyes, but they can't do the eyes because it's considered cosmetic. So they're looking into all options, and if they don't get back to me by the Thursday, well, that means they get to get back to me in August. Now, if they're still lazing around in August, well, in my opinion, so be it. There's no worry or hurry on it. So my mini projects is I got to put release dates into my calendar for game purchases I'm going to be making this year. Sorry. And I'm also working on the goals list. Apparently, Aaron got the vacuum cleaner working again, so...
Yeah, you had a filter that you never changed, and it was stopping the airflow, so there was no suction. That was nice to discover, especially since I have an allergy to dust and all that stuff, so that was real fun to have to clean. I was trying to find Moppy because we went outside, and I was like, did I even bring him back in with me? Did he run off? Is he gone? But Where is he? So I ended up checking under the bed, and then I finally saw movement. So I'm like, okay, he's under there.
Anyways, the other thing I wanted to say is Friday's coming up. That's our day for shopping. So we either get to go to KFC, Taco Bell combo, or we get to go to Red Robin, which I don't mind Red Robin. So we'll find out.
There's my little guy.
So right now there is no purchases for train tickets to the city where the surgeon is because, like I said, we're waiting on them. Now, if they can't get back by Thursday, then they get to wait till August 2nd, which means that's almost the whole time. And personally, if they're really going to try to build this under Medicare, I think, and that's why me and Aaron sitting here having a tasty cigar, is that me and Aaron are also kind of concerned about the train travel because it's summertime and the damn thing was packed like sardines.
Well, we're talking about going after school starts back up, so it shouldn't be a big deal. We just don't want to go at Christmas time. That's a big issue, and we don't want to go at holiday time, so we don't want to go at Thanksgiving. Anywhere between November and December.
No, those are my Christmas layaway plan through Walmart. So, anyways, I don't know if I told you, but I got a free gift card from Marlboro since I don't smoke cigarettes. They said I'm a gold member. I took the 25 Visa gift card and bought this on Amazon. So I got a new book for Aaron to help learn fly casting.
She does not smoke cigarettes, yet Marlboro gave her customer appreciation of $25 free and a credit card that was a temporary credit card, whatever, and she used it online and got herself a book. What a scam that is for somebody who does not smoke. She's also gotten an ashtray from them and a cup from them and various other things.
That's because I won those in their contest, remember? Just like the wine thing, which I wanted the cooler in the contest by Black & Mild. Instead, I got a wine opener. Oh, well, that was more utilized, useful. Wherever I put it, that's the different story.
Yeah. I don't even know. Then I was at the library today, and I went through all their fiction books, trying to find anything historical fiction. Amazing. There was, nothing, period. Zip, zilch, nada. Most of the books were romance and vampire-based. So anyways, I sat there and said, what's with all these books? They're all crap. Well, I finally at least found one book. It's called Black Ice by Susan Crenard. It's a sci-fi, and I'm not sure if this is going to be very good or not. But essentially, there's a battle in Asgard between a Valkyrie named Mist, who is a daughter of Freya, and Loki, and it was the last battle. Apparently, Loki got beaten, and the Valkyrie Mist disappeared. And years later, in San Francisco, she reappears, and so is Loki. And so she, again, battles Loki. The book has a possibility of being very good, or has a possibility of being absolutely terrible. So, I don't know. I'll be getting into that. Here's the wine opener that we won. Very nice, fancy, $100 wine opener. Which is kind of cool.
I've never tried it yet, so I would like to.
I'll see if I can pop the cork on your head and refill the brains up there.
Anyways, so
anyways, what I was saying about the library, though, is I finally realized the reason that we have such a poor selection of books is we live in a desert community with 90% of the people who speak English as a secondary language. So because of that, we have two local libraries, Moses Lake and Wenatchee, that are much bigger towns, and they're predominantly English speaking. So most of the good books are going there, and they don't get requested out here. And they'll stay at a library until they're requested, then they'll be sent to another library where they'll stay until they're requested, basically.
Well, for example, as you all know, Angela gave me a book a while ago for a birthday or Christmas present. I can't remember. It was the Orvis Guide to Small Stream Fishing. I love the pictures. I love the book in general. I read it a couple times a year. And, books that Angela's got me, I actually use them. So, for example, I went in there, and all the fly fishing books I've requested were all on the fly fishing things. But when I went online, they said all of them were checked out. But Now they're all stuck in our local Quincy library. Duplicates, which one set goes to the library it's been requested to, the other set goes to the mail order center.
And they never went back to the mail order center, and the reason they brought one from the mail order center was because the one that they apparently bought here, they thought they sold, and then they found it. So now they have 2 copies of it. That's interesting.
And this version here...
And now you're loading them up on Bible books.
Yes. So this book here, they had a full copy of this book. Then they sold it. Now you can only get it on EPUB for your e-reader for free.
Yeah.
And that's it. And it's like, you want to download it, you can download it, but it's, you know, oh, and then on top of that, I wanted to read this book on PDF while it was coming, so Aaron had a copy for himself. So I got on my tablet that Aaron's using, the old tablet, and lo and behold, they only gave me a sample, which was
you buy the
chapters.
book and they give you 2 chapters that you can use on e-reader, which you couldn't even very well read. They took out all the pictures, diagrams, and all that stuff. It was just the text, and it's like, this isn't going to teach anything without the pictures to show you. It's like, make a knot like this, blah, 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 and it's like, refer to picture, and there's no picture. So, kind of obnoxious that way.
Exactly. So anyways...
It does not switch over to e-reader very easily.
Anyways, I'm taking a break from this week from Diablo. I'm going to try to play Diablo once a week, because if you play Diablo once a week, you can gain 1 level. So by the time you get to
52 weeks,
you get the maximum, which is level 50. And then if you want to play Hellfire, which is Diablo expansion authorized by Blizzard and produced by Sierra Games, you can play again. But, you know, I told myself I would like to try to do a mage because, you know, a mage would be fun, but I had a problem with one of the mage spells.
All of a sudden you lost your ability to use a spell, and you
Chain
didn't understand
lightning.
why.
It's like, why? So I finally got a copy of the book about it, and I was like, hallelujah. So, and there's little quirks of Diablo, which they fixed in Diablo 2, but still, you know, knock it off. My foot is not for you to tickle.
Yes, it is. She doesn't understand these things yet.
It's like you all out there that do subscribe to me. These are not for him to handle.
Of course they're not.
Hands off the merchandise.
Why would I want to touch the merchandise?
Look at that thing. Also, I'm disappointed in this man.
Me?
Because he's got 10 razor blades. And
Oh, I haven't shaved yet.
And he's got he bought a blade this month. He bought one that came with 2 for like $5.
Exactly. I bought one that's got, it's
Total
like
10 blades.
it's like a cheaper knockoff of the razor that I was using, but I stopped shaving really because I couldn't afford all the razors that I needed. Once I've shaved my face and head, it's like, there goes the razor. It's dead. And it's like, well, I could go through a 5-pack or 4-pack of razors in a week. And at $30 for 4 razors,
Actually, it's $20.
whatever, $20 for 4 razors. That's $5 a piece. Within 1 week, I'm out of them. That's $80 in razors a month to keep my head nice and shaved and my face nice and shaved.
Well, you got.
So I figured I'd try these cheap ones because, heck, then I could get maybe 10 razors for $10. And it's like, well, $1 a razor is not too bad. And if I use it once a week, that'll last me like 2.5 months. But I just haven't played with it yet. I've been too lazy to, and I don't want to bother with it. And I got other things I want to do, and it's like, that's time consuming. It takes like 35, 40 minutes to do it all.
So, talking about the NCD for a minute, the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services is taking comments again. There's only 22. The last comments from January, it was like January 2nd to February 1st was only 106. This time, so far, in approximately 26 days, they've had 22 comments.
Yeah.
That means there's not...
That's like nobody cares. I don't understand that. Wait, you're transgendered, you want all this stuff, and yet you will not comment. It's like the cigar world. Right now, they're talking about the FDA regulating, and there was a huge petition to try to end up overturning that by saying don't do this. And guess what? They only got 15,000 people out of even this group I'm in. There's 20,000 active people, and they didn't get any of them really. It's like, wait, why are you not doing this? You're just going to roll over? I mean, a petition to keep guns ends up, having similar problems.
Actually, the petition for guns, everyone says no, they bomb. I'm talking email bombs, not actual physical bombs, but they bomb and call senators and Congress. Then, next thing you know, the bill's been completely dead. And then people are like, yes, but when it comes to transgender people or
why won't you stand up for your rights?
Exactly,
And I may not necessarily agree that it's the best idea because there are people who need things that can't get them. But at the same time, I understand there's a slight need. Now, they talk about medical necessity, and medical necessity basically says you are going to die if you do not have this. And there are people out there who have medical necessity issues that can't get it taken care of because they haven't reached this point or that point in their death yet.
I do want to
You have to have a massive heart attack before they'll end up replacing a heart valve.
I do want to say about the medical necessity for transgendered people. If the HHS, which passed the thing saying it's medically necessary, Medicare is trying to pass similar rules to put into place. But in the meantime, here's the real problem with the Medicare thing, okay? I'm going to give my breast as an example. Doctor told me I'd have to pay for the implants out of my own pocket. That's what he was trying to say. Instead, I figured $26,000. Instead, the implants were $984 a piece. Everything else was covered.
Yep.
So, I'm paying that. No problem. Now, the other thing the doctor tried to explain is, and the doctor tried to explain it to me, and people in emails tried to explain it to me, as long as there's no national coverage determination, you could sit there and have $600,000 in facial surgery to pass because all these girls sit there and say, oh, if I don't pass, some guy's going to kill me. Well, that's not my problem. My problem is this.
They
say
don't consider that a medical necessity because somebody else's actions is still somebody else's actions. You didn't die from a terminal disease. You didn't die because your lungs wouldn't function anymore and stop breathing. You didn't die because your heart exploded. You died because some idiot decided he was going to kill.
Well,
that's not a medical necessity.
For example, under the medical necessity, oh, well, it saves lives.
And if you want to talk suicide, suicide is still your own choice. You don't have to do it. Therefore, when you do something like that, it's a matter of your own actions, not a matter of the disease or
I was going to say about suicide. Now, for example, one of the things in the NCD, which you remember you looked it up with me, you saw it today. The health and well-being of someone who's pre-operative and post-operative are the same in the depression cycles, even after it. So they don't want to fork out $150,000 for a vagina when they think it's not going to do.
I mean, seriously, look at Caitlyn Jenner. All the money she's got, she's
$110 million,
and she still looks like somebody had hit her in the face with a brick 100,000 times, and she's still got male features. I'm sorry, I still recognize them as Jenner. There's nothing feminine about their face, really. The only thing they did was they went way too big with their frickin' lips just to be a Kardashian. Well,
the other thing I wanted to say was, and the suicide thing is if every transsexual in America, or about 99% of them, decided to commit suicide to make a point, it's still not going to change the NCD to it's medically necessary to save lives because the transgendered population took their own lives because of it. The other thing the NCD is trying to do is cut it out as much as possible for finances because certain doctors that I've heard about has had like 50 to 100 breast augmentations and not paid for one.
And let's put it this way. The Jenner effect essentially opened up quite a bit in medical. However, the Jenner effect is dying down. Nobody cares about Jenner so much anymore. It's just, okay, yeah, they're weird. So essentially with the Jenner effect wearing off, the fad is wearing off. And since the fad is wearing off, those who wanted to help before are now finding it, well, why? So they've had time to think it over, and it's like, well, we don't want to do this anymore.
Well, the other thing is some of these negative comments, doctors are saying, Well, it saves lives, but how does it save lives when, technically,
It's
there's no
saving life from.
NCD?
The reason they say it saves lives is because they're saying that it's saving lives from suicide, which is an act of self, and murder, which is an act of another. They aren't saving lives by an act of God or an act of disease or whatever, because we don't know exactly what causes some of these life-threatening diseases. That's why I said God.
I was talking to my local senators, state senators, and federal senators, as well as Congress. I've spoke to a lot of them, mostly the Republican, and they said that if they can change the bill, they would. But right now, the state of Washington is approximately $9 billion in the hole, and if they covered every transgendered person in Washington state, they would go up to about $60 billion in the hole in the next 10 years. Oh, and then the federal government, our own Congress and Senate told me, our Washington state ones and the federal Congress and Senate said, all in all, if you go off the current rates of transgendered health care and costs for all surgeries, it would cost between 35 and 70 trillion, not billion, trillion dollars in 10 years.
Well, anyway,
that's not including everyone who's coming out every day.
Let's get off the transgender talk now, because
yes, I'm getting tired of it.
Beating that like a dead horse. Anyways, and it ain't getting up. Rita has another situation going on. For those who didn't know, your mattress over there. She got this nice comforter. She told everybody about the nice comforter. And now she's got a nice big burn mark in it because the other day, absentmindedly, her ashtray usually sits there on a towel or whatever, but then she had a little piece fall off, and so she switched where her ashtray was. Anyway, she forgot she switched where her ashtray was, and she just went and set it on the bed. And, of course, now she's got a nice big burn mark on
But this cute guy said, don't cry over spilled milk, Rita. I will buy you one for Christmas, a new comforter. Yay! But the point is, he is a genuine... If I could get the Pope to saint him, the sainthood, I would. And that's how I feel about him. But anyways, I was absent-minded today by grabbing one of his cigars, not thinking... Because, so now...
Yeah, she had one in her ashtray, but she decided she was going to smoke mine too. And it's like, wait, what are you doing there? But, yeah, it's more, I think, a question of absent-mindedness. It's part of her learning disability. She's worried about Alzheimer's. I said she's too young for it. There is early onset, but even early onset doesn't hit till like the 60s. So you don't have to really worry about that. The main thing is it's just... absent-mindedness,
and as Aaron said,
and it'll increase with frequency as you get older. And part of it, she was born with fetal alcohol syndrome, so her brain was partially pickled when she was born. And
talking about fetal alcohol syndrome for a second, for all of you.
This is funny. Her psychiatrist says you don't have fetal alcohol syndrome. I don't see any signs of it. Yet her doctor, as a kid, said she had fetal alcohol syndrome. Her facial surgeon, when ended up talking about fetal alcohol syndrome, recognized symptoms of fetal alcohol syndrome in her face and said, yeah, you got fetal alcohol syndrome.
My primary care physician...
Your primary care physician says you have fetal alcohol syndrome. It's just your psychiatrist says you don't. Well, what does your psychiatrist know? In fact, fetal alcohol syndrome is a disorder of the brain, and it's not necessarily psychological. It's an LD thing, and LD people don't necessarily go to a psychiatrist because they're learning disabled. That's not going to help you learn anything.
I went to a psychiatrist to get my referrals for surgery, which, talking about transgender-related things for a second, my therapist has been really good with me. My psychiatrist basically said, no more referrals. I'm going to probably be going to another city, not the one that she just sent recently because the guy wants hair removal. So, no deal. Then she said that the facial surgeon doesn't know what she's talking about, and I need to go to the other facial surgeon across the country because she wants me to have more of an oval face like one of the cosplayers I like. But the doctor said that that's not functionality.
What she ended up,
because she's got to do a neck lift.
Well, what she ended up saying is that if she ends up shaving down the jaw, what's going to happen is all that skin that's on the jaws is going to hang down and become a turkey, like a turtleneck. And if she ends up pulling it all up, it'll end up looking awkward, and she can't do the facelift. Once they include that, they'll end up saying, well, we're not covering any of this. So there's a real question of whether she should or not. And with the size of the jaw and chin and everything, she'd have to really shave that down and cut muscle and everything else that she doesn't want to get into doing. And that doesn't necessarily mean the muscle won't come back, because damaged muscles have a tendency to regenerate a bit.
Well, the thing is that as I got, and I'm not going to give details, but as we know about the NCD problem, and they're doing comments again, the surgeon put into the hands of a financial coordinator to work out all this, and the financial coordinator's got to work with the clinic and hospital, but that'll be some time. However, because of it, as she said, they have to look at the LCD, the local coverage determination, which would be the Medicare contractor Noridian. Well, Noridian she's having trouble with, but the point is with no NCD, Noridian can say it's case by case and can throw it all out saying we're not covering it. But
so she's trying to make sure what will the out-of-pocket be if they don't cover.
And that's the thing. Most people sit there and say, and as Aaron was saying to me earlier, that in my desk I got new printouts of the new law where it says it's medically necessary to cover transgender-related surgeries, but as the doctor said to me in the office, is what is medically necessary for facial work? Therefore, one girl wants everything done. She wants every FFS, but everyone tells her no. One lady had FFS recently in the group, and she paid 20 grand out of her own pocket, yet she looks butt ugly.
Hasn't Mr. Ed been kicked enough?
I am Mr. Ed.
Anyways, we both agreed that we weren't going to go there anymore, and then we're back there.
Anyways, the reason I was waiting...
We need to get this over with.
Yes, and the reason I'm doing this long video was, an update. I was going to make it short. Other thing is until I get a watertight thing, Aaron already said they promised that they would bill it, but if they don't bill it, we still have options. We've already laid the options out. If the medical department, the financial coordinator is going to be transparent with me, I'm going to be transparent
So we
with
told
her.
them that the reason we need to know is because there's all these other appointments set up in August, and we need to know what we're doing so that we can end up buying tickets or whatever for those things.
So, with that said, everyone, I can still go and see the gender-confirming surgery in August, which means I got to get the ticket the 1st of July, which means working with Aaron, which means then
and I'm not looking forward to that because that's 5 days in a hotel.
Which I found the hotel, but we don't know.
It's a train trip to the coast.
It's not a train trip. It'd be a train trip to the coast.
We wouldn't be flying out of Pangbourne, and we'd have to take the train to Seattle, then we'd have to get on a plane, then we'd have to fly down there, then we'd have to go back and take the train back home. And at 5 days in a hotel, it's not something I'm looking forward to, especially seeing that 9 days in Nebraska we barely had the money to do. And I really don't think you're going to get a ticket this close to that date for the same price.
So, more likely for some of you out there, including Mr. James Truth, I'm probably going to be losing my airplane ticket to go to the gender-confirming surgery because I trust Aaron and I need Aaron with me on my appointment. So, anyways, let's see. I've talked about my mini projects, face thingy, got some paperwork to do. Next month, I'm going to be doing, and I hope Aaron get some more books, find some more books, even buy his $20 classic book.
Yeah, because my PS3 is dead, my PS2 is dead. I can't afford to fix them because I got to take care of handling all sorts of things with her surgery, such as making sure we have meals and stuff while we're gone. You say, oh yeah, don't say anything about that, but you're buying the tickets. So once you've bought the tickets, I still have to take care of my load. And so I got to make sure that we can afford to eat. And
I took care of the tickets, and I took care of the trip all the way down there. The only thing Aaron took care of was our meals, except for one meal in Nebraska, and he took care of the cab. Everything else came to a total of $1,500, not including what Aaron tacked on for his load for Nebraska, which would have been another $500. So total was $2,000 to get my breast done. But
that was just for the trip. Then when we went to Seattle, it managed, to port to the other place, it was $250 roughly, and just for the travel, and then another like $50 for food and everything, and then cousin spent another $75 that we know of.
And $6 for parking.
Oh, and $20 for our other place where we ended up having a few beers, and then, you know, so just to end up hanging out for a while and ended up costing like $150 because I bought $40 in cigars.
You paid 56. You said
56, yeah. So it was a rather expensive trip, even though that was fairly local.
Yeah, exactly. But you see the point. Traveling to get
That's why I'd
surgeries-
rather go to the doctor that we have that we're working with right now than go all the way across country to another place that, you know, that has essentially the same thing. You're still going to have to go in for the CAT scan and a secondary consultation.
Well, and
They're going to want to try to do something probably with their financial advisor too. Dr. Mitchell didn't care about that, so.
Well, Dr. Mitchell didn't, but Dr. Mitchell just didn't even work with us. He just did the surgery for these, sent me out the door. He had
Rather
bad
unprofessional, honestly.
Exactly, but this place here is being professional, and the other thing is...
But the unprofessional doctor was also an artist in what he does.
Well, let me put it to you this way. When it came to the other doctor for facial, he could probably get everything done in one go. The doctor, as we said in the last video, was running late. And because she was running late, we lost the ability, as the doctor said on the phone, to finish up with the pictures and finish up with the CAT scan that day. So that's why we'd have to go again. But right now, it's all open. And so what I think is going to happen is doctors are going to be giving, trying to delay it because there's no national coverage determination. So if that's the only thing that's causing... Are you sure that's one?
Yeah.
That's two. Look at 511. So,
Okay.
anyways,
Oh yeah, this one's the one that's currently recording.
with that said, everyone, I just wanted to share that with you all, and you know, next month I'm going to update my spreadsheets again. I'm going to go through some of my Amazon wish list and clean it. Another project I got to set up is my birthday list has got to be set up because my sister. So, with that said, everyone, oh, and I'm hoping to score a barbecue on the 4th so I can have a actual steak dinner with Aaron. So,
I don't think that's going to happen.
why?
Because we still have to barbecue at a park because we're not allowed a parking spot where we could actually barbecue on the premises. And then we'd have to leave this tiny little barbecue that nobody would technically see sitting in the parking spot while we go and eat so it can cool down, but somebody's likely to hit that with their car. Unless we ate outside and sat there all night until it went out.
So,
I'm not going to do that.
anyways, with that said, everyone, please, please add and subscribe. Please post comments, leave feedback, suggestion. Please look for your next video about a week from today. So that would be July 4th.
Yeah, about then.
There you go. With
We'll
that
probably
said,
do it later because we got 2 dogs, and that's going to be a hellacious day already.
Well, look for
and then we can give you an update on all that, too.
And look for July 6th then, because July 5th, unless Aaron tells me to cancel my doctor's appointment,
We're going.
we'll be going to town to see Grandma and my uncle.
You know, Moppy will probably not want to go out.
So, with that said, please add and subscribe. Please post comments, leave feedback, suggestion. Thank you. And may God bless you in all you do.